I started visiting San Antonio in 2005. When I moved here, I met Roberto Prestigiacomo and his lovely wife, Bethany. And although I tried to escape theater, they lured me in. And ladies and gentlemen, part of that lure was Bethany Bohall, arts administrator. Bethany has been serving as the director of fine arts at St. Mary's Hall since 2008. A former equity actor and public school drama teacher, Bethany has worked in arts administration for over 20 years. Previous employers include the Segerstrom Center for the Arts and Davidson College, where she oversaw the Royal Shakespeare Company residency. Bethany holds a BFA in drama, a certificate in arts management, and is currently working towards her Masters of Arts Leadership and Cultural Management. Ladies and gentlemen, Bethany Bohall.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today. Can I use both mics? Hello, everyone? No. All right, before we get started, I have to thank a few people. First of all, I have to thank Vicki and Doran and all the PechaKucha folks for bringing us together in this room tonight, because what a fabulous group you are, and congratulations to all the speakers, because you're amazing and inspiring. Sorry. All right, I'll try not to get too excited. Second of all, I have to thank all the artist educators that I work with at St. Mary's Hall and the students that they work with, because without them, my work would be meaningless. They are inspiring, they are perfect, they are curious and inquisitive, and I admire and respect all of you. And lastly, I need to give a shout out to Melanie Rush Davis, because a lot of the photos you're going to see in these slides are hers, and she's awesome, and thanks to my family. So here we go. I was part of a conversation recently where parents were asking if fine arts classes could be reduced so students could have more time to focus on academics. And then there was a high school student who decided to move to another school so he could concentrate on the study of robotics and technology. And his dad asked, why are the arts even being taught in the curriculum these days? In San Antonio and across the country, the arts have, over the last few decades, been the first subject area to be trimmed back or cut from school offerings entirely. However, there is now evidence that this trend is changing. The support of K-12 arts education is no longer in the sole domain of arts advocates. Curriculum experts, school administrators, tech companies, and of course students are articulating the value and need for the arts in schools. Why are experts starting to raise the alarm for more arts classes? Well, my colleague Carol Brown, an honors chemistry teacher, has answered that for us. The arts are what makes for educated individuals who are better humans and who are prepared for the future. The slides here will share with you some of the reasons the arts are valued by professionals and students, with images of student art making. And my goal here today is to look at why the arts must be part of the curriculum at every school in our city. Not just for those who can afford private violin lessons or for those who can attend a school like St. Mary's Hall. The actress Dame Helen Mirren was reported to have stated in 2014 when receiving the BAFTA Fellowship that the arts were becoming the prerogative of kids who have money. That must not happen. The arts must be for all. In the 2015 book, Four-Dimensional Education, The Competencies Learners Need to Succeed is a dry-looking text written by the folks at the Center for Curriculum Redesign. Yet one would almost think that the book was written by art teachers because of how much the book focuses on the importance of arts education. The authors state today's schools need to prepare students for more rapid economic and social change than ever before, for jobs that have not yet been created, to use technologies that have not been invented, and to solve social problems that we don't know yet will arise. The authors go on to say education for employment needs to refocus towards more complex, personal, creative tasks that only humans can do well. They also go on to write there'll be a growing need for people who can excel at creative and interpersonal tasks. And arts education has been linked to higher creative reading, creative thinking, and finally they write, a 2010 IBM study interviewed over 15,000 CEOs from 60 countries and 33 industries and found that creativity was named the most important leadership quality to meet the challenges of increasing complexity and uncertainty in the world. And they also write, creativity is also a very extremely fulfilling human activity. All this from educational thought leaders? Yes. The arts matter. In a December 17 Washington Post article, columnist Valerie Strauss writes that the general thinking had been that students must master science, technology, engineering, and math, the STEM subjects, to be ready for future jobs and careers. However, Google, after an in-depth study of their own hiring practices, that found that among the 8 most important qualities of Google's top employees, STEM expertise comes in dead last. The top characteristics of success at Google are all soft skills: being a good coach, communicating and listening well, possessing insights into others, having empathy towards and being supportive of one's colleagues, being a good critical thinker and problem solver, and being able to make connections across complex ideas. Strauss stated, "Those traits sound more like what one gains from a theater major than being a programmer." According to the Americans for the Arts websites, the arts teach innumerable lessons. Practice makes perfect. Small differences have large effects. Collaboration leads to creativity. The arts also teach the children that there are several paths to take when approaching problems, and that all problems can have more than one solution. But is that really true? Does making a piece of art, being in a play, taking a photograph, learning to master the cello really make a difference when acquiring these soft skills? And why does participating in the arts help in creative problem solving? In the 2017 book, The Runaway Species: How Human Creativity Remakes the World, it's written by Anthony Brandt, a music professor at Rice, and David Eagleman, a former speech and drama student from Albuquerque Academy turned neurologist. The authors opened the book explaining that the creative brain processes, the decision-making and innovation that inspired NASA scientists to come up with the answers to bring back Apollo 13 are the same ones that Picasso used to paint and repaint Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. However, the software in our brains, it needs to be fostered, nurtured, and grown in fertile soil. The authors state, a balanced education nurtures skills and imagination. But what about art for art's sake? And I'm in a room full of artists. Yes. The arts are not just about preparing students for future careers. But when you or I and a child is making a piece of art, we want them not thinking about what this job is and what their future job is and what this art making is going to get them in the future. We want them immersed in the moment, part of the transcendent experience of making art. Studying the arts allows students to find their passion, their voice, and who they are and how to express themselves. They gain confidence and learn to collaborate. They become sympathetic and empathetic to those around them. It happens every day in art classes and media labs and editing booths and rehearsals and concerts and dance studios, every day in every art form. And whenever I think about the power of the arts to change lives, I remember this one particular student. One day, her senior year, it was a sunny Sunday afternoon, she was driving south on 281 with a carload of friends on her way to campus to play a pickup game of soccer. And she took a left onto 281 and was broadsided by a car speeding north. She was fine, but her friend in the passenger side was hit directly and suffered irreversible brain damage. The rest of the year, her paintings were filled with indigos and sapphires and blues and deep purples and leaden grays. I don't know where she is now, but I do know that that year she worked out what she needed to in her art class. So I thank and welcome all of you to go into your schools and your communities and with your children and make sure the arts are part of their lives. They need it now more than ever.
I have to give you a grilling now.
What?
I have to give you a grilling now.
Oh, okay.
But jeez! I mean, it's wonderful work that you do, and it's a great situation that you're in, but I think that we all here would agree that we need this citywide. Is there anything as an administrator that you see that we can do to encourage this as a...
Well, I have to tell you one story. Is when my daughter started in public school in San Antonio, I went to the kinder roundup, and I remember them talking about how the art the art experience was a parent, no, they said, we have one art experience every 9 weeks. And I said, well, what is it? Is it like it takes you 9 weeks to make a giant sculpture that's in the middle of campus? And they said, oh no, we have a mom or someone just kind of come into the school every 9 weeks. And I had never heard of that. It was inconceivable to me. And when I worked in California, the arts had been cut so drastically because of some tax measures that aren't worth going into right now. So to answer Rick's question, what do we have to do? We have to be advocates in our schools. We have to be, the thing that I love about St. Mary's Hall is that you can be an advocate, but you can do that in your schools. And you can be a volunteer in your children's school, but don't forget, it's an important daily function. I think sometimes we get complacent and we think, well, they can get that outside of school, or we've got great programs like Say and that's going to have to, and Southwest School, and we're going to have to supplement with that, and that's awesome. We need it, but we also need it in our schools every day because it's that brain time that the students have, and if you think about that student coming home after that day and needing to go to her palette and make art, that's what we need in our schools. So you just have to continually be an advocate in your own world.
I think as much of a Democrat as I'd like to claim myself, I'm coming out in public as if it wasn't, obvious. But we do have our vote and we do have a say. And if we want to talk to our outsiders or outliers that say that, federal government shouldn't be dictating to us what we have, I think there's an advantage in that. And we live in San Antonio.
And if you don't have your license plate that says Texans for the Arts, get that. That's
a
small way to do it. Make sure you sign up for the advocacy alerts through Texans for the Arts, and just be present in your community.
Be a part of it because government is made of us.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.